let us start today's conversation with Vincent Diallo, Managing Partner at Interlace Ventures. Vincent, welcome to the show.
Hey, hello. Thank you so much for having me. It's a real pleasure. Yeah.
Great to have you. So let's introduce you to our audience. Tell us a bit about your background, how you got to venture capital, and tell us a little bit about Interlace Ventures. What is the focus of the fund, and whatever else you want to share in terms of check sizes that you like to write, what stage you like to invest in, and so forth. Let's get to know each other.
Sure thing. My investor pitch, basically. So my name is Vincent. You will very quickly notice that I'm French with my accent. I'm French. I'm based in San Francisco. I've been investing for 5 years now. And the latest vehicle is Interlace Venture. We launched it last year with my partner, Joseph. Joseph is himself also French, and he's based in New York. So French, active on the US market, but we're actually coming from China. So after I said that, you realize that it's a little bit an unusual journey on our side. We are actually former operator in retail. We met at a negotiation table in China when I was the CFO of a trading company that we exited. And Joe was working for famous mineral water brand called Evian. And we met at that negotiation. So that was the beginning of a friendship that turned out to be a business partnership. And now I would say we are fully partner in crime, brother for Interlace. What happened is that the entrepreneur used to work for in China. After we exited the company, moved to New York and called me over to manage his investment, basically, in startup. At the beginning, that was just it. That was a blank page. It's like, you want to invest some money in startup tech for me? And that's how it started. I invited Joe to join the adventure, and we developed that investment capacity of what was a family office. It was called Bleu Capital. We did 11 investments with this one. That was for us a proof of concept, a way to refine our positioning, where we could really bring value to the ecosystem, because needless to say that even 5 years ago, I don't think the ecosystem was needing a new micro VC, put it this way. So we had to identify a relevant angle and a meaningful strategy that was quite aligned with our strengths, our background, our access. And that's what we did by focusing on retail technology. So it was not that obvious in a very first year, but it came very naturally down the road. So 11 investments with this family office, most of them in retail technology. That gave us momentum to launch Interlace, spinning off our activity, launch Interlace, and being backed by this family office, but also I would say families that have extensive operation in the retail space, different families. Okay. So that give us the momentum. Yes.
So within retail technology, what is your geographical footprint? Where would you invest, and what are the constraints?
So we invest mainly on the U.S. market. Let's be clear. We even have a preference for New York area and Bay Area. Generally, we say 75% of our investment in those regions, and we remain 25% opportunistic. For the rest, I would say of the U.S. territory, but I would even increase it to North America and maybe to the world. Let's be honest, we can be opportunistic, but our focus is primarily those two regions. And the main reason is to be close to the founder and have dynamic interaction, because this is what we believe we have some value add. We are very founder friendly, not intrusive, but we're very happy to help and support where we can.
And what check sizes do you write?
We range it from 50K to 500K with a sweet spot at 250K. So definitely pre-seed, seed, without a necessary lead position. We're very comfortable to be the, let's say, the industry expert that brings this angle to the table.
But do you also lead?
No, we don't have to. We don't have to. It's not a must.
You don't have to, do you, or do you not lead?
We led a few rounds, but I still consider we are on a learning journey in a way that we've been investing for 5 years. You know, the learning cycle of VCs is pretty long, so I'm still happy to learn from the best practitioner and following a strong lead. So it's not a must. We can lead. It's not our fight. Put it this way.
Okay, let's double click down on stage. So, how do you define pre-seed? How do you define seed where you're comfortable? Do you need a proof of concept? Do you need, what do you need? Do you need paying customers? What do you need to feel comfortable to write a check?
Generally, I already invested on a PowerPoint presentation, so I don't need much in terms of advancement of the project, and that's probably the position of any pre-seed investor at that stage. I think a meaningful vision on a significant market with an excellent team are always good elements. What I usually add and request is to have at least a grasp on the product, maybe not a grasp, but a demo to understand, at least validating their capacity to execute and present clearly their vision. So that's generally what I ask. But the main criteria for me is the market size, the ambition, and the excellence of the team. Yeah.
Let's talk about some of the companies that you have invested in. And as you were describing a few of these case studies, talk about how you encountered them, when you encountered them, what stage, what did they have, and what did you see that convinced you to invest?
Well, I'm not going to go through all the portfolio because totally 17 companies.
No more.
So just a few examples. I think some that are representative of our approach. With the family office, we backed a company called Cargo, and that was, let's say, a surprising concept because those are the guys who tried to create a commerce experience in Uber. So I don't know if you had the chance to try it, if you are a frequent user of Uber, but until very recently, when you enter the Uber, some of the Uber, they went up to 30,000 cars actually equipped. You had a cargo box, which is basically a plastic box with some products inside. Products of 3 categories: food, snacking. You also had some personal care products and small electronics. Most of those products were for free, and so there was, let's say, a channel for brands to engage with potential consumer. So it was the beginning of a commerce experience within the car. And why I wanted to mention this one, not only because it performed pretty well until I would say the recent change of the dynamic in that space, but what I thought was important, or let's say noticeable, is the fact that why we were convinced from day one is because, again, as former operator, we actually tried when we were operating in China, we tried that channel of distribution. And the fact is, China is slightly ahead in terms of digital consumer experience, and it's also a culture or a country that embrace change very quickly. So we saw the takeoff of the sales in such a space. Let's say the engagement of the user in such a solution. And so when we were just missing the technological solution to monitor it properly in China. So when we saw it in US with the proper technology, that was basically a no-brainer. That was clearly a very risky venture, and I think the first rounds were not that easy for them, even though on the end it was oversubscribed. But for us, it was obvious at the first discussion, just to have to confirm that the team was able to execute, and that was also the perfect combination, because they were looking for VCs who had a little bit experience in inventory management, supply chain, basically moving products, which we have a pretty good expertise on this. So that's one good example I think can highlight our approach and our different way of maybe enriched way of thinking of retail, because of the observation of different market maturity and market structure between the European, the Chinese, and the American market. That's one example. Maybe I could mention also Singuli. Singuli is an investment we did in January, team between New York and France, active in demand forecasting, with the first angle on fashion, but it's also touching FMCG somehow. Same, we suffered this pain as operator, used to let's say living 6 months in the future in terms of purchase and trends on a very fast growing activity, and we know how, I mean, the risk that can express in dead inventory in terms of performance of the company. And so one of the permanent question was, how do we improve the quality of our forecast? And so when we saw that was super obvious for us that there was a need of support. What we did for them is that, exactly in line with our approach and positioning, something that I did not mention is that Interlace is not only focused in terms of investment space, but it's also verticalized in a way that we try to have strategic LPs around the table, meaning that they have an interest in helping us to accelerate the portfolio. So it's potentially business opportunities for the portfolio, and that create additional value. So we introduced Singuli to many brands and retailers who could benefit from that. Same for AlgoPix.
I'm sorry, I didn't quite understand. What does this company do? What is the value proposition?
It's demand forecasting. So it's basically anticipating the sales you will have in 6 months, 12 months on SKU by SKU, including new SKUs, enabling to optimizing your inventory level. I could have exactly the same speech about AlgoPix, which is a company we invested in November, which basically is the Nielsen of marketplace, because they have lots of analytics and insights on transaction on marketplace. I think it's the most complete set of data on transaction on marketplaces. And in this logic of interlacing, we make a point to bring them additional business through our connection. That is also a pretty strong element for founder to choose us, because I'm convinced that good founder choose their VCs and not the other way around.
Let me ask a bit of trend question. Given where we are right now, retail is one of the categories that is going through a really horrible moment with, of course, e-commerce is doing very, very well on the counter side. Fashion is doing terribly. How do you parse the post-COVID world, and how are you thinking about your companies, both the ones you have invested in and what you want to invest in going forward?
So I agree with the first portion of the analysis. Of course, COVID has been really damaging many retail operations, but at the same time, it's a tremendous acceleration of the digital transformation.
Yes.
Having invested on those trend lines for a while, for me, it's only good news. A good friend of mine is mentioning that we've been through a 5 years acceleration in 5 weeks, so 5 years in 5 weeks, and yeah. For me, it's actually seeing companies being ahead of the projection in terms of simply revenue, because there's definitely a need for those new tools. I mean, so there's an acceleration on the digitalization of the space. And I see, of course, even more potential today for some technologies that present new ways to engage with the consumers, new ways to relate to the consumer, new ways to serve the consumer, new ways to propose exciting experience, innovative experience. So video commerce is obvious that it's growing. We see, of course, a lot of opportunities in last mile. We actually will have one position in last mile that is quite exciting. It's called Cargo AI, again, a cargo, but not the same. In trunk. No, I'm actually super bullish about the space in terms of innovation in the coming years. And I mean, we're not going to stop consuming. Of course, consumers' behavior adapting very quickly to this new environment. No real idea on how deep will be the change. It seems like on the market that already totally reopened, consumers are quick to go back to their previous habits. So let's see how deep is this change. There's still no idea on whether we're going to have a second wave or not. I mean, there's still many uncertainty to really measure the deep impact. What is sure is that digitally speaking, I mean, from a digital perspective, there's clearly an acceleration and of course transformation of the offline experience, which goes exactly in the direction of what we've been advocating over the past years. I mean, the convergence of offline and online. I'm not even talking about omni-channel today. I mean, it's just table stake. I mean, it's not even a question of how to be omni-channel. It's how to make sure that we offer all the possibilities to the consumer to have the shopping journey that satisfies them. There's one shopping journey by consumer, so combining offline and online. How do you make it the best, and how do you follow your consumer to deliver him the best, fully personalized experience? It's that question, and that goes to technology.
The only point I would make is that omnichannel, yes, but I think COVID has changed the dynamic to be the weightage being much heavier on e-commerce and online shopping. And if you have to choose one channel, you need to be digital enabled more than the local and physical. So I think this is a very big shift, and as you said rightly, I think this is a 5-year shift that has happened in 5 weeks.
Well, I would not be that assertive because I think it really depends on category of product, category of purchase, and we should not also reduce the evolution of the mindset of the consumer. Obviously, at least with COVID, but it's not new. It's been again accelerated with COVID and shelter in place. We see expression of willingness to go to a more conscious shopping. It's more local, more sustainable, with a reduced carbon print. Maybe even a return on, let's say, not a glorification, but let's say an appreciation of the effort, which is maybe not completely aligned with this search for convenience. So again, depending on the category, opportunities can be offline, online, and again, each shopper should have the possibility to choose the shopping journey that is convenient. I mean, suitable.
Yeah,
for
but there are some macro trends, like I think some 30,000 stores between JCPenney and Macy's and so on and so forth are closing this year alone. Mm-hmm. That's very big. That's just from a store footprint, survival of the malls, and so forth. These are very, very big trends, and these are irreversible trends, I think.
True, but this is nothing new here. I mean, we've been talking about retail apocalypse, or we heard about retail apocalypse for at least 3 years. I tend to see it more as a retail renaissance. There was obviously an overcapacity of commercial areas in US. I mean, if you compare to, for example, to Europe, it's 5 times per head. So of course there was a call for rationalization at some point, and I think again the crisis has just been accelerating that. So looking for.
Well, I've been in the fashion industry. I ran one of the first ever e-commerce companies, fashion companies, and I always thought that these big departmental stores full of inventory that is very hard to find anything is an incredibly inefficient model.
Exactly.
So no surprise to me that model is failing. So you can do personalized stores in an e-commerce context, and you can manage inventory. You can, forecast better. Everything is much, much more manageable in an e-commerce context. And I think that whole digitization of the fashion industry has taken very long. It's surprising how long it has taken, but I think it is accelerating now.
Totally. I mean, it's clearly totally accelerating. Now, it doesn't mean that the physical store has completely lost its relevance. You have a couple of models that still benefit, even being fully digital. I mean, not fully, but mainly digital, still benefit from a physical presence. And it's actually see the store, the physical store, as a potential media channel where you can engage.
Well, and also maybe a physical fitting room, but you actually do the selections online, and maybe the merchandise gets delivered to a physical space for you to try it on, and so on and so forth. Some variation, but I think it's going to change. It's going to change significantly.
Definitely, and for the good. I noticed your background on fashion. I was like, you were so ahead. I mean, you were so. I mean,
visionary. It was way too early to do that. Way too early. That's a separate conversation.
I love to. We.
All right. Well, enchanté. Merci pour votre participation.
Thank you so much for the invitation. It's a real pleasure, and really appreciate what you do for the ecosystem, Fermanagh. You've been here for a long time, and definitely it's a structural support, and happy to join you in that.
All right. Well, take care. We'll talk later.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.